Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to another episode of The Lounge. I'm your host, Mr. Number One Draft Pick, Jay in the Cut. We got our technical producer, Mr. Dave, over there, holding it down. What's going
Yes,
on, Dave?
sir. How y'all boys doing today, man?
We good. We got the man, the myth, the legend, avid Florida State fan, avid Tyrese Maxey hater. We got Mr. Sherm in the cut. How you doing, Sherm?
What's good? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling, man?
We feeling pretty good,
Man,
man.
we
We feeling
good.
pretty good. Man, we got playoff basketball coming up, but before we get into that, y'all know what time it is.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm snipping this straight from Numbers on the Board Pod because I thought it was a great idea. So shout out to them. Shout out my boy Kenny, Mike, you know what I'm saying? Shout out them guys. But I'm thinking of a certain category, and you all have to find players that are in that category.
Okay.
So y'all can start off naming random NBA players, and then we can go from there.
Are we current or all time? Like,
Whatever.
all right. De'Aaron Fox,
No,
Give me Russell Westbrook.
no,
Tyrese Maxey.
no,
You said Maxi. That's a scrub.
He's not a scrub, man. Jason Tatum,
no.
Michael
Jimmy
Jordan,
Butler.
Yes, Jimmy Butler. Yes.
Jimmy,
Ooh, okay.
Nikola Mirotic.
Oh no.
Okay.
What?
I'm thinking of people who played with Jimmy Butler.
So we talk about category. We talking about stats
You
or
got to give
what?
us a hint.
I can't give y'all a hint. Y'all will figure the category out once you keep talking about players. Y'all will
Okay.
eventually figure the category out.
But it's not statistics or anything like that.
It could be. It
D
could not.
Wade.
Yes.
Players that went to Marquette.
No.
Players for
What?
the Miami Heat.
Yes. Play for
Oh,
Miami.
see, I was
Oh
thinking
my
too deep. Come
god!
on, bro.
Go on.
Why was Marquette the first thing you thought of?
I
Because
mean,
D
they
Wade
did
went
both
there,
go to
Jimmy Butler went
Marquette.
there.
Marquette would have been a good one. I don't know enough about college.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I don't know that much about college, and I knew that.
I mean, I know they both went to Marquette, but why would I be thinking about that?
So you're right. You're right.
This man here, this man feeling like a scrub.
I was thinking too deep.
You definitely weren't thinking too hard about that.
I was.
I'm trying to think of the most outlandish things.
I ain't gonna lie, that Jimmy Butler one gave it away. I thought y'all would have said some role players or some all time. I don't know why nobody said LeBron first.
Nobody care about LeBron, man. Come
I'm
on.
just saying that would.
I was gonna say him eventually, but there's too many categories that LeBron could fit into.
Yeah, you got a point. But man, love when the streams start off like this. So, Mr. Sherm, I'm gonna hand it over to you while I eat my little ice cream and let you give us of your takes from the women's Final Four because we know you're an avid South Carolina hater, but we need your take from the women's Final Four that's been taking place, man. Talk to us. Actually, really give us your thoughts on both sides. But yeah, let's start off with
Look,
the women.
man. Look, man. I'm not a South Carolina hater, man. You gotta respect greatness. They got Dawn Staley. They got Camila Cardoso down in the middle. You gotta respect greatness. I ain't a South Carolina hater. I'm just a Caitlin Clark fan, bro. I've been watching her since she started at Iowa, from a freshman to now, and I just want to see her win the chip, bro. I mean, we had maybe one and a half good games last night. NC State, South Carolina. I mean, it kind of turned into what we all expected it to be. Shout out to NC State. They had a great season, but they had no shot. Let's be real. South Carolina went in there, took care of business. We expected them to be there, right? Undefeated season continues. We'll see if they can close it out tomorrow.
Lost 3 games in 3 years.
That's
Insane.
incredible, man. That's incredible. But then on the other side, the nightcap, we had UConn versus Iowa. And honestly, it was kind of a good game. There were several calls by the referees that went Iowa's way. It's kind
Multiple
of
calls.
tough to say, but I also don't think those calls were the reason why UConn lost the game. Okay, and you even heard some of the players. Paige Becker, she said something similar last night. Yes, we could talk about the foul calls, but there are other opportunities they should have capitalized on that they didn't. Okay,
And the big
always
foul.
it
Everybody
always
was talking
sucks when
about
you
that
lose a game
illegal
like that.
screen. I don't see it. It was an illegal screen. I'm
It
like,
definitely was.
It was, But there's another one where the Iowa player went for a layup and nobody touched her, and the refs called a foul. That was a tough call. But again, I think she split those, so it really didn't really impact the ending that much, you know.
Yeah, I
So
agree. I don't think it was that big of a difference maker. You know, UConn only lost about 2 points. It's not like they got blown out by 15 plus.
Yeah.
now, how do you feel though, Sherm, about the championship game? I know you're an Iowa fan, but realistically, what you thinking about Don Staley and those girls over in South Carolina?
I'm nervous. I'm really nervous about this. If from Iowa's perspective, I think South Carolina, they're going to come in. They're going to come hungry. They're going to try to be physical and aggressive with Caitlin Clark. And also, we saw Iowa. A lot of their game plan, what really got their momentum going, was a lot of driving, feeding the ball to 45, Hannah Stolke in the post, and she was the one who really got them going. You know, UConn was in some foul trouble, and their bigs were not holding up defensively. But you look at the other side with South Carolina, their big rotation, they got like 3, 4, 5 deep when it comes to their bigs. If one's in foul trouble, they got 3 more that can step up. You know what I mean? And defensively, I think they're going to do an amazing job of protecting the rim. And with Iowa, that's all you got to do. If you can protect the rim and you could throw double teams at Caitlin Clark, they don't have other playmakers on that team. And that's been the issue. That's why they ended up losing last year to LSU. They've never been able to find that secondary playmaker next to Caitlin Clark. And we saw a little bit of that with UConn last night until they kind of changed up their scheme. They got Stolke some more post touches. But that ain't going to work against South Carolina. So we're going to have to see some of these ladies on Iowa step up, put the ball on the floor, make tough shots.
Mm-hmm.
Now moving over to the men's side, big matchup: NC State versus Purdue and Alabama versus UConn. UConn, the smallest margin of victory that UConn has had this entire tournament was an 18-point win. I have little faith in Alabama. Not even being an Alabama hater, I just have. I had little faith against anybody playing against you because I'm thinking, oh man, they playing San Diego State. It's a rematch of the championship from last year. They beat San Diego State by like what 30, 35?
Yeah, 30 something.
Like, man, I don't know what's gonna stop this UConn team besides maybe themselves. I don't know what's gonna stop this UConn team, man.
And that's exactly right. That's what's going to stop them. It's only themselves at this point. You know, the other day when I was watching them against Illinois, I compared them to the 2016 Warriors. And the reason I made that comparison is just the Warriors, they have that inevitability about them. Even if during the first half you were able to keep the game close, what do we always say? Third quarter Warriors, they go on that little run, and that's exactly what UConn did. They won a 30-0 run. You know how insane that is at any level of basketball. 30-0 run is absolutely nuts. So that's the thing. You know, they're a dominant team. They can go however far they want to take themselves. But we saw with the 2016 Warriors, right? They had that 3-1 lead. They got punched in the mouth a little bit, and they started making some mental mistakes. All of a sudden, you're in Game 7, do or die. And you got LeBron James on the other side. That's a tough matchup, right?
Yeah.
So UConn, they're going to have to lock in, right? They're on this quest to go back to back, and they have a coach, Dan Hurley, who's going to make sure that his guys are ready. But they're going to have to lock in because even if they win against Alabama, now you're looking at possibly, you got Purdue on the other side with Zach Edey, okay? And say what you want about Zach Edey. He's a dominant player, all right? So they're really going to have to lock in for these next 2 games. But I have no doubt, talent-wise and roster-wise, I have no doubt they're by far the best team in this tournament.
Yeah, you got to look at Alabama. Still a hungry team. I'm not counting them completely out. Definitely a hungry team. Furthest run they've ever made. Alabama's also the first team to make the Final Four in football and basketball. But then you look on the other side, Purdue got Zach Edey. He going to do his thing. You know he going to eat it up. And you also got NC State, who is right now been the hottest team as of late. You know, they went through the ACC tournament, won the ACC. They've been hot this entire time, sitting behind DJ Thorpe and BJ Burns. So, hey, I think it's going to be good games. I really want to see how because I watched that Tennessee game, Tennessee and Purdue. Yes, sir, you should be proud of me. I watched the college game. Oh, I said Tennessee and Purdue game. And what I noticed was the problem is Zach Edey is a force on the defensive end, and he shifts your game plan. But even on the other side, when they were able to get around Edey, it's like you don't have anybody physically who can really just match him physically. Me and
Right.
Dave were talking about this the other day. He's like 7'4". I think he's like 305
Yeah,
or
he's a big
350.
dude. Yeah.
The big guy. He's moving people. His size comparisons were a shorter Yao Ming. That was literally what his size comparison
That's
was
a perfect comparison.
because Yao Ming was sitting at like 7'6", 330 or 345 or something. And like he's just a shorter Yao Ming as far as frame and stature. And we were talking about this the other day because I know we're gonna talk about it more as we get closer to the draft. But some of these guys, we brought up the example of like a guy like Chet, who Chet has a smaller frame. I'm like, Chet put on muscle. Like with some of these guys, you talk about weight transformations, you don't want them to either lose or put on so much weight that they lose their touch or lose the way they know how to play the game. You know what I'm saying? People looking at Edie like, oh, he's scrub, he's soft. I'm like, how do y'all know he want to be Hakeem? How do y'all know he don't want to be a Mark Eaton or Rudy Gobert, solid defensive big man who can score when he needs to above the rim? I just hate that. I feel like for what his role is, he's fitting that role perfectly. The man is 7'4", shooting over 70% from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
What more can you ask for?
Well, I think this is always the problem that we have with college big men. I mean, you can be dominant in college, but it just doesn't translate as well to the NBA level. We saw this with Drew Timme and Gonzaga. We saw this with Luka Garza. I know he's in the NBA right now, but he was killing at Iowa, and now he's in the NBA. He's like the third big in the rotation. I think the problem with Edie's not necessarily his offensive game, right? I mean, you're a tall guy. You can just stand, dunk the ball, right? That's easy. The biggest issue is going to be defensively. Okay, is he going to be agile enough? Right, when you put in the pick and roll and you have to switch onto Trae Young and you have to switch onto Luka. Okay, are you going to get cooked? Or are you going to be able to move your feet a little bit? Right, I think that's the problem that GMs are going to have when it comes to evaluating Zach Edey. It's not to take away his talent. We know that he's a talent. And that's kind of the conversation we've been having on the past couple podcasts, right? About the value of college experience. And I think we're seeing that with Zach Edey. See, now he's faced all types of defenses. And we've seen this tournament run, he's been able to pick every one of them apart. I mean, for crying out loud, the other day he had 40 and 20, bro. Like, he's just been picking these defenses apart because he's seen them before and he's adjusted his game. He's gotten better. He's better at passing out of double teams. And the shooters around him are better. They're hitting their shots at a more consistent level. So that's why I think Purdue is actually pretty dangerous. I would not be surprised. For all that we say about UConn, I would not be surprised if we see Purdue winning the national championship.
Well, and the thing, we have been talking about this for the last few shows where it is, we're looking at certain people's game to lose or how do you compare. But I kind of feel that's a good transitioning point. How do you all feel about G League Ignite being shut down? How do y'all feel? I feel like I don't think it really encourages you to go to college as much as it does, but I don't think G League Ignite was per se a failure. I just think it was poorly executed.
Yeah, I was gonna say they need to revamp it. Like, there needs to be a reason why I'm going to G League Ignite over going to college.
And it was, but NIL money made it catch up.
Exactly.
But I think that personally, they should have done G League Ignite, not just the best players on each team, but mix them up. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see Scoop play for Ignite and then go see Jalen Green playing on the Mad Ants. You know what I'm saying? Because G League Ignite's like 6-40 this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're horrible this year.
That's horrendous.
But if they mix it up like that and make you take one of these guys, then it makes a difference. Because, like, for example, since G League Ignite is just the best players, why do I have two small forwards? Why am I starting two small forwards when they play alike, do the same thing? Why am I putting them on the court together when I could just get one here and one there? So, Sherm, you being a college guru, as I call it, how do you feel about that G League Ignite thing?
Well, I do wonder, with it being shut down, I wonder if it's about the basketball side or if it's more so about the business side. Operating a franchise like that, it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of investment, right? You have to pay the players, have to pay the staff. And I do wonder if at the end of the day they just looked at it and they said, this is not profitable for us, so we're just going to shut it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think it was more so about the prospects that they're bringing in, because they've been bringing in top prospects, right? Stu Henderson, Jalen Green, Jonathan Kaminga, all those guys were top 10 in their class, top 5 in their class, really. And even this year, they have Booz Ellis down there. He's projected to be a lottery pick as well. I don't think it's necessarily about the talent. I just think they looked at it and they're like, this is not making the money that we thought it would. We're not generating revenue. And then, like you mentioned, with NIL becoming so popular in college, I mean, if I'm an NBA or if I'm an NBA prospect, I'd rather just go to college, learn
Yeah.
from those great coaches, learn and develop in their system and get a little bit of taste for that while still getting paid.
Yeah, and they also had since G League Ignite's inception, what are they like 12-man rosters or whatever?
Yeah, I want to say 12.
They've had 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. They have 12 players in the NBA right now. So I feel like that's a pretty successful. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Like having 12 players in Ignite that's pretty successful, if you ask me. So I don't know, and I feel like they have some quality players. Like you said, you got Beauchamp is pretty good. Dyson Daniels is solid. Scoot, I feel like it's only gonna get better. Of course, Jalen Green and Jonathan Kaminga. So I don't think it's produced bad players. I do think they should bring it back, but just bring it back on the scaling of, hey, let's mix these guys up. Let's get one of these guys on each team. You know what I'm saying?
And I like that idea because then you can compare it to, let's say, if a guy goes overseas, like we saw with LaMelo going to Australia. When he went to Australia, he wasn't playing with a bunch of dudes who are 18, his same age, right? He was playing with grown men on that team. And people were showing him how to be a vet, all that stuff. We'll see if it works out for LaMelo, if he can actually put everything together. But I do like that idea. Kind of mix it up. Send these guys to different spots, different areas, and incorporate them inside the G League system instead of making it a separate team and a separate roster.
Exactly. And now, before we get off of college fully, we gotta talk about, we talked about the Bronny news.
Mm-hmm.
Sherm, how you I don't keep up with college a lot. How many players actually do that? Declare for the draft, go in, get evaluated by scouts, and then potentially pull out. Is that something that happens regularly in the NBA? Because I don't think
Yeah,
people do it in football yet.
yeah, that's pretty regular. A lot of NBA players end up doing it, or college prospects, I should say, do that all the time. We saw this with dude off Creighton, Trey Alexander. He did that, and then he ended up going back to school. So it's a pretty common thing. I think we don't see it as much in football because in football these guys have to play 3 years. So by your third year playing, you pretty much know for sure where you're going to be. You pretty much know your workouts, all that stuff. But in the NBA, when you only have to play 1 year at college, we'll see these guys test the water, get some feedback. Um, I can't think of the name right now, but I do know there is this one NBA player who tested the system, and the scouts told him you need to work on your jump shot. And then he ended up going back to school, became a better shooter, and then he was a lottery pick the next year. God, I wish I could remember his name right now. But it does happen a lot more than people think.
Do you think Bronny's gonna stay in, or do you think he's gonna go back?
I think Bronny's going to college. I and there's nothing against Bronny. I think he has a lot of work to do before he's going to be a productive NBA player. So I think it's in his best interest to go back to college.
I think I'm looking at it kind of like how Jeff Teague was describing it. Jeff Teague was like, his game doesn't fit many college systems, and that's the problem that they're running into. He was like, if anybody should have potentially went to a pro style first, it would have been somebody like a Bronny who's used to playing. Like, he's going to, what you're getting from him. He can always get better. That's good. Just know you're gonna get solid defender. He gonna pass the ball, make the right pass. Excuse me, knock down shots when he need to. He's not required to be a star player like some other guys. Like you look at like somebody like Imani Bates, for example, who look like he can only do something with the ball in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like righteously, it's the only thing he can do. And that's how I'm looking at this thing with Brian. I mean, I feel like it's still a chance that he stays in because, like Jeff Teague was saying, 10-5-5 is good in the league, and it can get you 15 years. So
Absolutely. I just wish Bronny. I just wish he was a bit taller. That's it, because he plays like a wing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he's in a point guard's body, so everybody looks at him, expects him to be like this elite on-ball guard, offensive engine. I just don't see that with him. I see him more as just a 3-and-D wing.
Mm-hmm.
If he was 6'6", 6'8", I think we're having a completely different discussion about him. But instead, he's what, like 6'2"?
He's 6'3", I want to say.
If he was Bryce size, we'll be having a different conversation.
Absolutely.
Because
we see wing players are so valuable and they get paid in the NBA, right?
So it's hard to find those 3-and-D wings. Those are some of the best players to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like I said, if it was a world where he could reliably play the two, then that would be pretty good if he could reliably play the two. But we just know that might not happen. He might not have the potential to just play two guard the entire time. Mm-hmm. They're going to try and make him a point guard.
I think of a guy like DeAnthony Melton, right? I mean, DeAnthony Melton, he's a solid NBA player. I think that's probably going to be the best case scenario for Bronny at this point. But he's still a young kid. I mean, he has a bunch to develop. But if he ends up having a DeAnthony Melton type career, that's amazing for him, right?
I think people put a lot of expectations on him just because of who he is, and that's just not. He's not going to live up to that hype. In my eyes, he's a 3-and-D point, which is it can be a glue guy for pretty much any team. That's a guy that any playoff team will want on their roster, and that's not a bad thing to say. You were a role player in the league for 10, 12 years. That's a successful career at the end of the day.
I like the DeAnthony Melton comparison, but does anybody feel like his peak could be more along the lines of Marcus Smartish? Or
I was gonna say like Lonzo.
I don't think he's gonna be Lonzo. No, Lonzo,
he has a similar skill set, I think.
Yeah, but Lonzo's 6'6".
It's a 2-inch difference. I'm just saying that defensive point guard, 3-and-D. That's kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna lie. It's been times where we've seen, we know what peak Lonzo is giving you.
Mm-hmm.
Peak Lonzo could have been an all-star level type of player.
Yeah, fringe all-star.
Just off of the tools that he had. Just off of the natural tools he had. And the reason I say that is because we consensusly said that he's the best ball brother. It's probably consensus. And you see how good LaMelo is, and you see how good LiAngelo once was. And he's like the consensus best out of those. He's the best out of a family who's had an all-star before. That's why I said I don't think Lonzo will fit the comparison. But I can see him being like a Marcus Smart type of player. I can see him being like maybe Drew Holiday might be a stretch because
I will lean more towards Drew Holiday because Marcus Smart is one defensive player of the year.
That's why I think he probably could. He could probably get a DPOY the way that if they keep
he plays hard on defense.
If they value DPOY the way we think they finna continue to value it, he might mess around and get one. Because I think this would be the first year in recent memory that the DPOY, which probably gonna be Rudy Gobert, is the best defender from an advanced analytics standpoint. He's the best defender on the best team.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just don't know.
It's definitely an interesting conversation, but we just have to wait until he's in the league to find out.
Yeah, you're right about that. Moving on to the next thing, we have playoff previews. I was looking at the standings the other day, guys, and I was thinking of something interesting. You all know that the Lakers and the Warriors, who are 9 and 10, and even the Rockets, they are not the Rockets, but the Lakers and Warriors are closer to the 1 seed out west than the Bucks are to the 2 seed out east.
Mm-hmm. I think you can see there's two takeaways from that. One, it showed you how much better the Celtics are than everybody else in the Eastern Conference. And two, it shows you how tight the Western Conference is and how how much talent is actually in the West.
Well, I think it tells you a third thing, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it tells you something about the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, they need to get their act together. All
Yeah,
right,
if the Bucks were in the West, they would be tied for the 5th seed.
I
they
think
need
the
to get
Bucks
their
window
act
is
together,
closed.
man. They just lost 3 straight to the Grizzlies, Raptors, and the Wizards, man.
Yeah, the 12th ranked team, the 13th, and the 14th ranked team in the league. Well, in the West, I'm sorry.
I think the window is closed. Honestly,
The
I
Bucks.
hate to be that guy. I think the Bucks window is closed. I
In
think.
the
Go
in
ahead.
the beginning of the season, I was giving them some benefit of the doubt. You know, they had some coaching change, they had some things going on behind the scenes. But now, granted, Damian Lillard ain't played all those games, okay. But
Mhm.
now we're seeing something is really really off and stinky about the Bucks. Okay, some really. I just want everybody to circle this. Okay, we're seeing some suspicious going on, and I think they're in danger of another first round exit, man.
I think so
Yeah,
too.
and
I don't feel like they're a threat this year at all.
yeah, and I feel like I was talking to Els about this earlier. I feel like right now you want to play the Bucks.
Hmm. Get them out of
No
there.
Chris Middleton for the foreseeable time. Dame has been a little off. And I hate to be that guy, but I feel like Giannis might be the problem.
Hmm.
It's crazy to say, but if you think about like Sharon, you said something's fishy. You think about their timeline when Adrian Griffin got fired because he lost the respect of the locker room. Did he lose the respect of the locker room, or did he tell you about it? It's oddly specific that he lost the respect of the locker room around the time that the Pacers booted y'all from the in-season tournament and
Mm.
everybody was mad. Did he really lose the respect for the locker room, or did he just tell y'all about yourselves and y'all ego got so hurt? Or did when you want to play your brother some of these minutes and he told you no, your ego keep getting a little hurt?
Mm.
Or when you know what I'm saying? I just feel I don't know, something about this feels like we feel like Giannis is a great guy because he has a great story. But I don't know, could he be the reasoning behind the way this organization is going?
I think so. That's a pretty valid take that I didn't even think about. And I think that is the case because, Giannis is the guy. He won them a championship. He's arguably one of the best players in their franchise's
Bucks
history.
history, yeah.
And when you have
Top
a
three.
guy like that, you're going to go above and beyond to kind of keep that player there. And I think that's their issue right now is
They're
they're
trying to
too
keep
afraid to
him
put their
happy.
foot down. Exactly.
Y'all so funny, man. Y'all gonna sit up here and say all this stuff about Giannis. But then when it comes to LeBron James, y'all be holding y'all tongues.
I don't
Don't
hold
say
my tongue.
Nah,
nothing.
nah.
Don't
I
say
tell you
nothing when it
this,
comes to LeBron. Because Giannis is doing the exact same thing LeBron James does, man.
I
Exact same
understand
thing.
that. And I never told you never once heard me say that LeBron shouldn't be deserve to be talked about. You have never once heard me say that. I talk about any star player who gets in that disgruntled mode, and the only difference I've seen is, at least in Giannis and LeBron's case, they have both admitted to playing bad and taking a lot of personal responsibility in the public light. I will give him that. Giannis has took it on the chin and took a lot of personal responsibility. When in reality, he's still been hooping. It's just everybody else some
Yeah.
days. He has been hooping, and I can give him the benefit of the doubt because he took that on the chin and said, "Hey, we got to get better, not just you." Like he said, everybody from the bottom to the top. So I can appreciate that, but I still feel like it's more than what we know.
I get your point, but I still think we're being a little unfair to Giannis, okay, to start putting all this out there that he's the problem. He's some sort of disgruntled locker room cancer. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, these guys are competitors and they just want to win, okay? Winning cures everything. And when you're not winning, you're not having a fun time, okay?
Hmm.
And don't get me wrong,
Unless you're LaMelo Ball, okay? He has a lot of fun
But
losing.
he balling out right now.
Okay?
He
hey,
having a
half
blast
that
He
losing.
team,
balled out
half
on the
that team,
bench, you know.
Yeah.
half that team addicted to perks, man.
It's a lot of things going on in Charlotte, man.
But yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just bringing it out there. Could it potentially be? What could it be outside of that? I mean, you went and got another star. Chris Middleton hasn't been the healthiest, but I'm not gonna blame an injured player for the team. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because if he was here, we know you at least gonna get 15, 16,
15 to
17
20
games
a
from
game.
Middleton. You know you're gonna get that.
And he could take
Brook
over in the playoffs. We didn't see it before.
Brook is getting old. Like this team is just looking defeated.
I just think in general there's some flaws in how the roster is constructed. Okay, for one thing, it's kind of an older team, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of young, like youthful vibrancy there. Okay, so I think definitely getting some younger players would definitely help. Right, getting some more shooters would definitely help. I think about a team like Philadelphia, right? For as much as I dislike him, bringing in Tyrese Maxey definitely helps. That's a young player. He can go out there, he can score, and he can just take the pressure off. And he's also a presence in the locker room that kind of keeps things fresh and light. I think that's very valuable on an NBA team. And you look at these other rosters around the league, you think that are kind of underperforming right now. I also would point towards the Phoenix Suns, right? I think it's a similar thing. They're an older team. And when you're an older team, you have all that pressure and that expectations on you. You're not playing loose. And in basketball, you need to play loose. We can compare that to teams like the Thunder, young team, they play loose. The Knicks, they got some young cats on there. They play loose. They're dominating, right? Even the Celtics, they got a good mix of young players and veterans. So I think definitely Milwaukee needs to bring in some youthful energy there.
I can definitely agree with
Yeah.
that.
I
I
think
think
the
that
Bucks. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
nah, you good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think the Bucks and the Suns kind of suffer from the same issue. They gave up way too much for a star player. Like the Suns, they gave up all their bench pieces for Kevin Durant. I don't blame them, but it's like when the guy of KD's level, in my opinion, a top 10 player of all time is available for trade. You go out and try to get him, but they still gave up too much. I think the Bucks did the same thing. They gave up too much of their identity. We know the Bucks is this great defensive team, and now they're terrible on defense. They're old. They don't have any young guys. It's just I think they suffer from the same issue.
It's almost like the Bucks would have been better off, which granted they didn't know this at the time, but it's like they would have been better off if they had just traded for Chris Paul
Yeah,
instead of selling everything for Dame. Just bring
Mhm.
in Chris Paul. You still have Drew Holiday, and then you could build, kind of a roster around that. And it's almost like they went out. They kind of just sold everything for Dame. And I think part of it, too, was they were worried Miami would get him. I
Yeah.
think that's part of it, why they had to oversell. As far as Phoenix, I do think it's a problem, but I can't blame them. Anytime you can get Kevin Durant, you go
You
get
have to
Kevin
get
Durant,
Yeah.
So I can't blame them for that. The Beal trade, I didn't understand it at the time.
I didn't either.
It just didn't make any sense to me.
But that Bill thing, I don't know.
I mean, they
Bill's
already
so-
have guys that can score. You already have guys that can do what Bradley Beal does. All Bradley Beal offers is offense.
And I think that's the problem with Phoenix. They have too many guys who do the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's their problem. And when it comes to the playoffs, they don't have a guy who's going to defend, right?
Nope.
You're trusting Grayson Allen to defend Luka in the playoff series.
He about to get cooked.
That's barbecue chicken, man. So it's almost like his offense. I mean, Grayson Allen's been one of the best shooters in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
but that's not going to matter in the playoffs.
Isn't he shooting
Nope.
like 50% from three or
Yeah,
something
he's
ridiculous like that?
Lights out.
I would expect him to shoot that way if you surrounded by Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. It's
Yeah.
kind of like when KD was in Golden State. He was ridiculously efficient. He played some of the best basketball of his career.
Absolutely.
Well, looking at the free agency list, it's quite, if the Bucks want to get younger, they can get younger this free agency.
What's their salary situation looking like?
I don't know, but I'm just looking at guys who they could potentially get on cheaper deals. Just a few guys that come to mind, people that could potentially help what they got going on. As far as their youth and vigor, I'm looking at somebody like maybe Isaiah Joe got 43% from three.
Come on.
Somebody, I'm just looking. They don't have many options. I don't know how much money they have,
Yeah, I don't know
but
either.
with Dame and Giannis contracts, I know it ain't.
Especially
I know they-
Dames. Yeah.
And then you
slow
look at the
guys-
trade deadline, they bring in Patrick Beverly, who's like 37. Man.
He's like 36. He's around LeBron's age.
I think they're just going to have to pray that they hit on the draft pick, which is hard because they have like late round picks. And a lot of them they did trade, but they're just going to have to pray that they hit on some of these. And then I also think about a guy like Bruce Brown, right?
Yeah, I was
could
gonna say Bruce
potentially-
Brown was another one.
Yeah, he got a team option, I think. So depending how Toronto, I think he's still on Toronto. I don't remember. He got traded like 5 times. So depending how they go with that team option, I think Bruce Brown could be a good target for them.
They could try and poke somebody like a Kelly Oubre. Just guys you can get. Malik Beasley is another one who I would try and bring back.
Didn't they have him at one point?
They have him.
Yeah.
I would try and bring him back.
Oh man.
Especially if you're trying to stay a little bit younger. I don't know. It's not a lot that they can go off of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you could shoot your shot at like a Caleb Martin, Sadiq Bey, another free agent. I'm just looking at guys who are young, who are younger, who may be able to help you out a little bit, rather than picking up all these old men. Tyus Jones might be somebody who could.
That'd be a great pickup.
Thrive from playing with a Giannis and playing behind the Dame. I'm just looking for people who are realistically you can get. I don't think you get Grayson Allen back.
Nah, free agency is going to be just so weird with this new CBA they put in. Yeah. Now teams over like certain salary cap, paying the luxury tap. Well, now it just decreases their mid-level exception, right? So certain teams can't sign certain players. Like when somebody got waived, the Celtics couldn't sign him. Who was it? Kyle Lowry. There's a lot of teams who could have signed Kyle Lowry because they were over a certain salary cap. So it's gonna, this new CBA I think is gonna change how teams are being constructed moving forward. Let's keep going with the playoff preview, man. Who else, man?
So we back. So I wanted to get you all's opinion on some teams who you think can make or break themselves in the playoffs right now.
All right.
Like, I just want some teams that I feel, you let me know how you feel about them. Right now, the 76ers.
I think, as a 76ers fan, I think we should have let Embiid come back next season. I think it's too late to try to reincorporate him into the team, especially with all these new pickups we got. And trying to figure that out in the playoffs is not the ideal environment to do that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like this was just a lost season for the Sixers. I don't think anything that matters or anything else that happens matters at this point, right? Obviously, you're in the dance. You don't want to go out there and just give up, right? But whether they lose in the first round, second round, whatever, I don't think it really matters. I think we're just focused on next season when they're going to have that cap space this summer. So we'll see what they do with that cap space. Bring in maybe a star player. There's been talks about Paul George maybe. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think this year's playoffs, I can't really hold that against them too much.
Yeah. I think if you had, like I told them, I do think they should have set Embiid. But now that he's back, the only thing I can tell you is push for the 7th seed. That's all I can tell you.
Because we'd end up playing the Bucks.
If you
play that 6th seed,
I don't think they get the 6th.
Who's the 3 seed right now?
3 seed is the Cavs.
Well, the 3 seed is pretty close.
I'd rather play the Bucks, honestly.
But you got to think the Magic are in the race for the 3 seed.
They're a hot team right now too.
And the Knicks.
Magic's still in the race.
Listen, Magic. Come on, man. If you're the Sixers, man, you'd rather play the Magic than the Bucks.
Yeah, because they're inexperienced. Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, you would. But I don't know. The only thing I will say about the 76ers is you need to figure out what direction you're going to go in this upcoming offseason. Like, I feel like they can muck up some stuff in the playoffs for a lot of teams. So they can really, because you're going to play. You're going to have to play, especially with Embiid playing. Yeah. I don't think he's going to get the same amount of calls, but by the time the playoffs start, he should have his touch back. So I don't think you should be worried about that. But I think that the only thing y'all should be worried about is get in the playoffs and see how it looks in these 7 games to know what you're going to do. But if they get to 7, I could see them doing something to the Bucks. I really could. Now, with the news, we're staying out east right now. With the news of Julius Randle not coming back this season, maybe OG Anunoby may or may not be back.
They say he'll be back.
He'll be back. Okay. Yeah. How you feeling about the Knicks, man?
Honestly, I'm scared of the Knicks. I feel like they can make some noise, and I hope Julius Randle has a speedy recovery. But I have a hot take. I think the Knicks are a better team without Julius Randle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he got a torn labrum.
You think so?
Yeah, he's been out too long. They keep saying right shoulder.
Isn't that the same injury Ja Morant had?
Yeah.
So I think they say he's gonna have surgery on it. So it's definitely probably a torn labrum.
Yeah, don't want to bring him back. after
And
that.
it's not to say Julius Randle's a bad player. It's not to say the Knicks aren't better with him, but I think the fit is a lot better when you take Julius Randle off the floor.
Because he's not a
Especially when we
Thibodeau
go
type of
into
player.
He's not, no.
He's just extremely good. He's just not a Thibodeau guy.
He's so good, you have to play him.
You
Like,
have
as
to
much as
play
I
him.
don't like him, he's very talented.
Yeah, you can't. Not, and I think that playing for Tibbs might be what's breaking them down so fast as well.
Because Tibbs is horrible at management. We all know.
We'll
He's
see. I mean, he's putting up stats. I mean, his injury wasn't a minutes thing. It was just a fluke injury.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's. But I think when it comes to the playoffs, right, and the formula for winning in the playoffs, you need switchability 1 through 5 or 2 through 5 if you have an elite one. You need switchability. And I think with Julius Randle playing the 4, they kind of lose some of that. But now if you replace him with OG Anunoby, and then you have Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, you're bringing up Bogdanovich off the bench potentially, you know what I'm saying? Now I think they're a lot more dangerous. Not only on offense, you add more spacing on offense, but on defense, you add some more switchability. So I think they're a dangerous team. And Jalen Brunson, he's been hooping, man.
Yeah, he's been hooping.
He definitely has, man.
Watch out for the Knicks, man. If they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, watch out for them. I don't think they're getting past my Celtics, but they could be any other team.
I don't think there's many teams that make it past the Celtics right now. The only thing you can hope for if you're any other team is that the Celtics play a team that's going to give them a tough first round series.
Well, it ain't going to be Miami because we're going to sweep them.
Anyways, I told Dave I don't think anybody's gonna get swept this year though.
I don't think
teams
any.
are pretty good.
You're bugged. Teams get swept every year, man.
I don't think nobody's getting swept this year, man.
So it just depends on the playing race shakes out. I mean, I think if Chicago ends up being the 8th seed, I think the Celtics sweep them eeasily.
I don't think the Celtics sweep the Heat or the Sixers.
No.
I think the thing about the Sixers is, and I was talking about this earlier, kind of jumping back to them. Embiid makes them so much better defensively, but that's the problem. He does a lot of stuff that you can't teach and that you can't coach to someone. And that's where the problem comes in, is when he's off of the court. And then team like the Celtics, he's playing that paintish to mid-range area. Team like the Celtics are going to take him out of there. Because even if Kristaps Porzingis is shooting 0 for 6, I'm not leaving him open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not. You feel me? So it's teams like that who are going to make them shift their entire defense again, and then you're going to see Kyle Lowry get attacked the whole game. It's going to be stuff like that. Kelly Oubre is not a horrible defender, but they're going to attack you.
Yeah,
they're
he ain't the best.
Everybody.
We attacking Maxey. We going to make Maxey defend.
Maxey can hold his own.
Maxey not holding his own against Jason Tatum, bro.
Stop. Of course not. Jason Tatum's like 6'10".
He's not going to match up on Tatum. You're crazy.
Yeah, you will never put Maxey on Tatum.
It's the playoffs. That's how the playoffs work now.
They're going to try and get the switch, but I don't think it's If you're the 76ers, what is your ideal lineup?
Probably Maxey, Buddy Hill, Oubre, Embiid.
Tobias, and Embiid.
That's barbecue chicken, man. Come on now.
That's not barbecue.
That's not at all. If we play the Celtics, it's going to at least 6, I think.
Bro, you're
I don't know.
I think it's going to 6.
I think Celtics get a lot of people out there in 5. Maybe.
Depends on the team.
The Celtics is they always trolling, bro. If the Celtics just lock in and take care of business, they can sweep every team. But they always trolling. You always know it's going to be one game. They're going to choke away in the clutch. So
that's what happened to the Warriors. Y'all should have beat them that year.
We should have.
And y'all was messing around, had the lead, and blew it.
Your star be crying sometimes too, bro. They gonna get on his crying. In the playoffs. They gonna get on his behind. He not bad at all. One of the best in the league. He's not crying sometimes.
I'm glad you said that.
The white skins be, man.
Yeah, he be crying sometimes.
It's funny because I know Jarris. I think I told you this a while back, but I watched the video and this guy was explaining how Jason Tatum hasn't taken that next step yet, and it's because he's afraid of contact. And if you look at him play, that's kind of how he plays. Like he's scared of contact.
I think he's gotten a lot better at that than he was in the past. There's definitely past couple years where you're like, come on, dude.
Like you're 6'9", 6'10". Like, bro, if you don't, you dunked on LeBron James. Just go to the brim.
This year, he's definitely been a lot better and a lot stronger. But I think part of the problem, and this is something that I have not just with Tatum, but a lot of the stars around the league. I think part of the problem, guys don't know how to play as a team anymore.
Mm.
And in the off season, they're always working out.
By
How do I get my
themselves.
step back three off? How do I get my mid range off? How do I do this? Guys aren't working on driving and finishing through contact in the off season, bro. Guys aren't working on how do I make the easy pass.
They're
You can
driving
see
and
the guys
kicking.
who working on it because they come back and play great.
Exactly.
You
And
see the
you
guys.
look at a guy like Steph Curry, man. What's his offseason workout? It's all movement, screens, passing, shooting. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But Steph, he gets all that down, and then he works on his individual skills. He gets his floater right. He gets his mid-range pull-up right. You know what I'm saying? I just think guys are emphasizing how to play as a team the right way. And that's what gets the Celtics in trouble so many times late in the games. What do we see? We see Jaylen Brown ISO, Jason Tatum ISO, step back, bad shot. They're not playing
There's
as
no
a
team ball.
versus the Miami Heat. Even though Jimmy Butler be taking over, but they also play like a team. Is Bam Adebayo getting involved? Tyler Hero getting involved? Then boom, Jimmy Butler. Let me get to my shot. Let me get to my spot. The floor space. This is a good shot for me. You know what I mean? Jimmy Butler, by the way.
Anyway, since we talked about the 8-7, let's just keep going down. Let's look at these Achilles heels for some of these teams. We just talked about the Celtics. We talked about the Bucks. What's the Achilles heel for Cavs, Magic, and Pacers?
The Cavs themselves, I'm never sold on them as
health.
a team.
Health is mine for the Cavs because it's obvious that
isn't Mobley still hurt?
Donovan Mitchell isn't per se out, but you could tell he's limping to the finish line.
Yeah, and I don't even think he wants to be in Cleveland.
I think the issue with the Cavs is they don't have an identity. They don't know. They don't know who their best five is, and I think that's gonna hurt them at the end of the day. They don't know their best five.
And theoretically, you would think they know their best five is gonna be Garland,
Mitchell,
anybody.
Okoro.
I'm saying anybody at the three because they got a few options.
But I think they need a real three though.
Jared Allen and even Evan Mobley, but you could put and one of their big problems was always shooting, right? We talked about a guy like Imani Bates. Why don't you just let him shoot? Just literally tell him your whole job is to shoot.
He's a rookie, man.
You can't trust a rookie in the playoffs.
He's a rookie second round pick. He ain't like that.
I know, but y'all get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You have to give him a chance to see what he's made of.
If my problem is shooting, which was that problem was court spacing last year, put in somebody that can space the floor.
Well, that's what they brought in Max Strus for. Heat legend Max Strus. We'll see what ends up happening with them, but I just think identity-wise, they don't know who their best five is. Mobley and Allen, that fit together just doesn't work as well as we think it should.
They're gonna move. They're gonna move Allen this offseason.
They kind of thought
he's on a favorable contract.
I think they need to move Mobley.
I would keep Mobley. Mobley's a lot younger.
I think they should keep I think they should move Mobley too, but they're gonna somebody's gonna want Jared Allen for the contract.
Of course, you getting a very certain
rookie deal, so it's harder to move him. But I think I'm just not that high on Mobley. He's a great defensive player, but offensively, he just doesn't do it for me. So I would try to sell him while his price is high.
Well, let's move on. What's the Magic's Achilles heel?
Inexperience.
They got two: is inexperience and shooting. All right, shooting, and I think shooting. They've lost a couple clutch games here recently, and that's been the problem. They can't hit shots, threes especially. But listen, the fact that they're here this fast, that's credit to them. So.
I think I agree with both of y'all. I do think the biggest Achilles heel is going to be youth, and I feel like there's two type of young teams in the league. It is the Thunder and it's the Magic.
Yeah.
Well, three types. It's the Thunder, it's the Magic, and the Pistons. Those are the three type of young teams you got. And
you can include the Spurs in that convo too.
Nah, hell no.
You don't think so?
No. Because the Spurs and Pistons, they ain't the same. They ain't got the only difference is you got a generational talent on the Spurs. That's it. Like
His
they're the
Wimby's
same
and
team,
that's it.
same team, different color. You got one standout guy and a bunch of guys who look like bumbling idiots on the Spurs, and then you got Cade Cunningham, the Thompson twin do all right,
Jalen
Jaden Ivey
Ivey,
ball every now
Jalen
and again,
Duran.
and a bunch of idiots, or not even idiots on the court, idiotic front office.
Now, honestly, on paper, outside of Wimby, I think the Pistons have a better roster just on
They
paper.
do. They just don't have nobody up front that know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Sir, go coach the Pistons. I
Like I
got more
can't
faith
believe
in you than
Monty
most.
Williams was giving Killian Hayes starters minutes. That man is garbage. I think anybody would have. If I was the coach, he's not touching the floor.
Sir, go coach the Pistons.
Hey man, championship on the way.
I think you could do it. All right. What is the Pacers' Achilles heel? And can I please go first? Because I got
Go
it.
ahead. I got two in
It
mind.
is Mr. Tyrese Halliburton. He plays well, they can win a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
He playing like dog butt, they not gonna win at all.
You
And I
know
like
what's funny?
Halliburton.
You know what's funny? That's exactly what I was gonna say too. It's Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just because their system is so Halliburton focused right now. Everything is dependent on how he plays.
He is the system.
And you know, I loved what you call it. That's the thing. I love that pickup that they brought in with Pascal Siakam.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I like the pickup. I feel like it's gonna help them in the long term more than it's gonna hurt them. Because even if you don't go back with him, it's showing you the type of players either to bring around him or not to bring around him if he's gonna be your guy. Like his last 5 games, listen to the splits. Last night, 8 points, 2 boards, 11 assists. Night before that, 24, 3, and 8. 27, 4, and 13. Then you jump down just 2 games before that, 13, 4, and 5. So you just it's Halliburton. He's your determining factor.
I think it's also defense as well.
I don't know. I don't know how good they really are defensively.
I don't think
I
they're
do
that
know
good.
it's hurting them some. No Benedict Mathurin, so it's still gonna be hurting them a little bit.
Well, I mean, part of the defense that's going to be Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the regular season is passable, but playoff basketball is so different, and that's the part people don't understand. When they look at playoff basketball, and they're like, "Why did this team lose? Why did this team win?" They don't understand. It's a completely different game than regular season basketball.
Way different.
It's hard to play a team 7 times.
Exactly. In the playoffs, teams are going to adjust to what Halliburton does on offense. They're going to take all his stuff away. And on defense, they're going to attack him. Mm-hmm. And he's not a strong defender at all.
Not at all.
At all. He gets deflections and steals every now and then. Okay, cute stats, but defensively, I mean, he's pretty much on Trae Young's level defensively.
Mm-hmm. A 6'5" Trae Young.
Yeah. Which is disappointing because he's 6'5".
Yeah, you have a big frame, long
wingspan. Trae Young got an
wingspan.
excuse. Trae Young like 4'11". He got an excuse.
I'm saying. I mean, well, we'll see what happens in the playoffs, though.
And we're not going to talk about the Bulls or the Hawks because realistically, they shouldn't make it. I love the Hawks. I love Trae Young, but I'm not wasting time talking about them. I'm sorry.
Hey man, all I know is we come to Miami, we knock you out the play-in tournament, man.
All right, we're gonna start from 10 out west. I really start from we start from 10 because I don't think that the Rockets gonna make it. I wanted them to make it so bad.
I do too, but I don't see it happening.
I don't think they'll make it. All right, Warriors Achilles heel. Everybody but Steph Curry.
Literally.
I don't know if y'all.
I agree.
Anything with Steph. The Lakers, another team who doesn't have an identity as well. You got LeBron James and AD, and it's like it rotates. It shouldn't rotate on who's gonna show up.
It needs to be consistent.
And it's crazy because I have to put D'Lo ? As a third option.
He's very inconsistent.
The only other person who's lived up to the expectations set for them this season is Austin Reeves. And whenever they give Rui the proper minutes instead of having Taurean Prince on my court.
Taurean Prince literally does nothing.
Nothing.
You
And
think
it
so about
pissed.
Austin Reeves? I think Austin Reeves kind of disappointed this year. I'm not gonna lie.
He's averaging 16. I don't know what the people expected, but I never expected a 20 plus point per game Austin Reeves. I never
Okay,
expected that.
that's
So
fair.
him giving 16 and he's played every game this season, and I didn't realize it. He played just about every game in the playoffs last year. He played FIBA this summer, and he's played every game this season. The boy ain't took a break.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done what I expect him to do. I don't know what I don't know what his expectation really was.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask Lakers fans, he's Tyler Hero that's a nerd. If you ask Lakers
A
fans.
nerdy Tyler Hero.
But
Farm
in
boy.
realistic ball watchers, I think he's doing fine for what I need him to
Mm-hmm.
do.
That's fair. I just think I expect him to take a little bit of a jump from what he did last year, and instead he's been a small step below what he did last year. And he's still a quality NBA player. I'm not going to take that away from him. But I just expected a lot more from him. But it is hard when you're playing in that system next to LeBron James, next to Anthony Davis. And I think the difference between last year and this year they're putting the ball in D'Lo's hands a little bit more than they did last year, which kind of takes away Reeves' touches. So
Yeah, I
And I
agree.
like D'Lo. I feel like D'Lo's done all right, but he's not third option.
I just think the Lakers don't have depth right now. I mean, they have probably 4 players that I would trust in a playoff series, which is a problem. Okay, especially when you have 40-year-old LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Which, by the way, can we? This is just an aside. We need to stop making these injury jokes on Anthony Davis.
He's been healthy this year.
He's
been
played
pretty,
most of the games this season.
He's been pretty healthy. Okay, I think the memes come from every now and then he'll fall on the ground and act like he tore his ACL.
They call that man always disabled. That had me crying.
Like, he's not always injured, okay? But we have agendas, we have narratives, okay?
Gotta push him.
If anything, LeBron, okay? We need to worry about LeBron's health.
He's getting up there. He about to be 40.
I told y'all, bro, the day LeBron play every road game, we know he retired.
Yeah, literally.
All right, Sacramento Kings. I think their Achilles heels.
Actually, I kind of want to go first on that one.
Go ahead.
I think their issue is that they're the exact same team from last year. They haven't made any
I was going to
improvements.
say that. They're the same team.
Yeah, so I'm not worried about them. Even I like the Kings, they just need to change it up a little bit.
And I think with them, they've had some injuries to the shooting guard position. Kevin Huerter got injured. I think he had a labrum injury as well. It's the year of the labrum, apparently. And then also Malik Monk, he had a sprained MCL, so he'll be out maybe a month, So by the time he comes back, they might be out of the dance entirely. So Malik Monk has been hooping for them, 6 man of the year candidate.
He's one of their best players.
Exactly. So him missing, that takes away a lot of their dynamic scoring.
He missing 15 points a game.
Exactly. We saw that kind of impact of them last night. They were playing the Celtics and they lost. The Celtics were playing their third stringers basically, and the Kings went out there and lost. But we'll see. They have. I think what Dave said is exactly right. They're the exact same team as last year. I think they really need to make a change to their roster in this offseason to take that next step. They were in the running for somebody like Anunoby. They were in the running for Siakam. They need to stop being.
They need to capitalize
and capitalize on something, right?
We can have 3 feel-good years. This is the 3rd feel-good year. After this year, you got to do something.
Exactly.
That reminds me of that a couple years back, around 2017, when the Celtics had all those assets and people were like, when are they going to capitalize? That's what that kind of reminds me of.
New Orleans Pelicans, their biggest Achilles heel, as always, is going to be fitness and health. Zion has been playing pretty great. Probably should make his first playoff this year, but Brandon Ingram is out. Personally, I think you ship off Brandon Ingram and give Herb Jones some minutes and throw everything to the wall and say free. Personally,
I think their Achilles heel is they only have like half a good guard, and that's CJ McCollum. Guard play is so important, especially in the playoffs. And I think CJ McCollum is he's half of CJ McCollum, right? They have nobody else on their roster who's going to step up in that role. So that's going to be what gets them. I think they need to solve that.
Man, they got a bucket sitting on the bench right now, though, man.
Who?
You like Jordan Hawkins?
I mean, he's alright, but he's not a guard to me. He's more of a wing.
Yeah, he listed that shooting guard. No.
He's more of a wing.
You got Jordan Hawkins, man. Get my man in the game.
When I'm talking guard, I'm talking about.
I know. Yeah, you mean like guard.
10 seconds left. Go get me a bucket. Go to the rim. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, they got Matt Ryan, bro. They good.
It's not that Matt Ryan, man.
They got Matt Ryan, bro. They good. Suns big as Achilles heel.
Depth easily.
Yeah, we spoke about this earlier. I think it's depth and it's defensive pieces, right? You're trusting Grayson Allen and Yusuf Nurkic to be your defensive anchors. That's not going to work.
Yeah, if you think Grayson Allen's going to guard Luka, you out of your mind.
Grayson Allen, the dirtiest player in the game. They call him
Luka. Don't care about him.
Luka
putting up. If they play Luka putting up 50 a game.
Well, who's guarding Luka? Who's guarding Anthony Edwards? Who's guarding Steph? Who is guarding Jokic? Right now, people might go and tell me Royce O'Neal. All right, yeah, we already know how that's going to go.
I'm not worried about Royce O'Neal.
I think they should mostly hope for Bradley Beal deciding to come out and play like prime Klay Thompson in the playoffs. That's what they should hope.
That's a miracle if you waiting on that.
If he can give them 45% of prime Klay Thompson, I think they're a whole lot better.
But that'll help their defense.
At this point, give KD the ball and move out.
At this point,
defense been championships now.
It's gonna look like when KD was on the Nets that one year.
Come on,
KD was just hooping.
Yeah, almost took the boys to the finals.
No defense, no haircut, just hoops.
Those Nets teams had defense. Wait a minute now. Those Nets teams had defense.
I'm saying he wasn't doing nothing but hooping. Like he wasn't worried about.
Yeah, KD was just getting the bucket, and that was it.
He ain't get a haircut, just hoops.
That's literally ball his life. Literally,
I'm telling you, Mavericks big as Achilles heel is going to be front
defense.
Defense as well, yeah.
But I feel like the only reason I can throw an asterisk next to that is because their backcourt is so much better than just about everybody else's that it can make up for the lack thereof. But when they get into teams, who gonna, like you talk about, who gonna guard who? If Cat was healthy, who gonna guard Cat? Who gonna come up there and play defense on Jokic? Who gonna guard AD? Who gonna guard? You know what I'm saying? Who gonna guard Zion if you come in that situation?
They don't have a real rim protector, I don't think.
I can see the Mavericks making a good run to the finals. It's just going to depend on their matchups, right? Yeah. If they can kind of avoid Denver until the Western Conference Finals, and they can kind of maybe avoid the Lakers, you know, I think if they have some good matchups in front of them, they can make a deep run. Luka and Kyrie are just way too dangerous, man.
If this was March Madness thing, I would say they could go to the championship. This is like March Madness.
If it was, yeah, definitely.
On me.
Like, it's literally. I think, yeah. One thing I can say, though, I feel like they're going to protect home court very well.
Bro, so if the NBA had single elimination tournaments, like, it would just be a bloodbath, man.
If they had them at this point in the season, like the play-in was kind of like single elimination towards the end. It was so young in the season, man. If they had these guys right now playing for that, the NCAA tournament would have been way better.
No, that'd be insane. I mean, we'd have some conversations about several different players if it was just single elimination. James Harden would be a 12-time champion.
Literally,
if he only had to win one game, you know.
Yeah, and I saw another podcast. They put the entire NBA into a March Madness style bracket. They still ended up with Celtics and Nuggets at the end, but you had to hear some of the matchups that could have went either way. They did it during that little time where the Rockets was the best team on the planet too. So you got to be like, if this single game elimination, this would be amazing. But Clippers. Cinderella. Hey, the Mavericks be the biggest Cinderella story.
Ain't no Cinderella, man. Come on, they got a top 2 player in the league, bro. How you
like 2 weeks ago they would have been Cinderella. They're different this week.
You got a top 2 player in the league, bro. That ain't no Cinderella. Come on now.
Clippers big as Achilles heel. Health.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody is healthy, that is a dangerous team.
I think it's health and it's guard play. I don't know what I'm gonna get out of James Harden. He's had stretches this season where he's been okay, and he has stretches where he has lived kind of under expectations. So,
and this is the most healthy I've seen this team all year. The only person who's questionable is Kawhi. This is the most healthy I've seen this team all year.
Hey,
You know
I
they
think
always injured.
we got to watch out for Kawhi now because he's injured right now with that knee injury. Okay, what's that same knee that he tore his meniscus in? Same knee that he had his quad issues in. Same knee he's had all these problems, and now all of a sudden, right before playoffs, he has knee soreness. We need to watch out, keep our eye on that because that is not good for Kawhi Leonard at all, man.
Not at all.
We've seen him when he's healthy, when he's out there, he is a
Different.
dominant player.
Different. Next one, the Thunder's Achilles heel. Youth, and I don't think I think Shea is gonna fold on the biggest stage because he ain't gonna shoot 15 free throws.
This guy's a Shea hater, isn't he?
I'm not a Shea hater. I don't think it's a world where they're gonna give Shea 15 free throws in the playoffs.
We'll see. Well, it depends what agendas they're pushing. You know, if they're playing the Lakers, he's definitely not getting those. They are going to LeBron, but you know, they're playing some small team. He might get that. Listen, I think, like you said, it's going to be their youth and their experience. I think Shea is really the only player on the roster who's been in the playoffs before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who plays – I mean, Gordon Hayward too, but –
I forgot he was on that team.
I was going to say, who cares what Gordon Hayward thinks at a time?
He's still a vet, though. You got to respect
Oh, I'm
him.
sorry. I forgot about Lou Dort. He had that bubble series. That was it.
Shea
You know
is
what I mean?
also out right now.
That's just I don't think that's anything major. You know, that's just a.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Hey, man, my boy Mike Muscala and Bismack Biyombo. Put some respect on
Bismack Biyombo's on that team?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
That was like a couple weeks ago, wasn't it?
My boy Josh Giddey got experience. Wrong.
Oh, yeah, we know that.
Whoa,
we know.
No Diddy.
no Diddy. We know.
All right, man. Achilles. I'm skipping. I'm gonna come back to the Nuggets. Achilles heel for the Timberwolves. No cat injuries. If Karl Anthony Towns is here, I would feel completely different about this team.
Yeah, because he completely changes their offense just by his shooting alone.
That's funny y'all say that. I actually think no cat is amazing for them. I just don't think Cat and Anthony Edwards are a good fit together.
I think they eventually.
It's too much of a your turn, my turn. They don't have that. They don't have that synergy.
Kind of what like the Celtics got going on.
Yeah, they don't have that synergy. I think Cat is too reluctant to give up that number one role. I think we see now that Cat's out the lineup, it opens everything because now everybody's like, "This is Ant's team. We playing through Ant. We going as Ant go." Ant and Gobert, they got good 1-2 game together. You know what I'm saying? Mike Conley spotting up in the corner, all that. So I think without Cat, you know, I'm not taking nothing away from him. He's an amazing shooter, but it's kind of like what we spoke about with Julius Randle and the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to that playoff situation, you got to have switchability 1 through 5, and you got to have, you know, a dynamic elite guard, which they have with Anthony Edwards. Now with Cat gone, when Cat's there, he's clogging up so much defensively, man. And Rudy Gobert, you know, in the playoffs, it's a different game. Rudy Gobert and Cat playing next to each other is not going to work.
Not at all.
I think they eventually move on from one or the other. But I think that for this season alone, you know, they talk about Cat, but Cat's defense hasn't been as bad as people want to claim it to be.
He's definitely improved.
It hasn't.
Like, he's, you know what's crazy? He's top 5 in defensive efficiency as well. Him and Rudy. So I do think that they're going to play off of that defense a whole lot. But I think for this specific year, I think missing Cat is going to hurt them more than help them. Because if they do run into because we don't know how the season is going to fall. If they run into a team like the Pelicans or something they have both of their big guys down there, that just changed the whole dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what I can do now? I can pull out a guy like Naz Reid, who does pretty much the same thing Cat does, but for a lot cheaper. You know what I'm saying?
He's not as good a shooter.
Not as good as a shooter, but he can shoot. He can step out. You know what I'm saying? So I just think they need to move on from Cat and devote some more resources to building a perfect team around Ant. Because Ant can take them to that next level, man. We just don't have to wait. Ant is good enough to take them to that next level. So I look at a team like OKC. let's see what they would offer me for Karl Anthony Towns. I look at a team like New York. What would they offer me?
I wouldn't mind him being in New York.
Even a team like Houston. I'm sorry, not Houston, Brooklyn. I wonder what Brooklyn might offer up for Karl Anthony Towns.
We need to mock one of these episodes. We need to, especially during. We're gonna say this for close to the off season. One of these episodes, we're gonna have to mock up where we think some of these guys can go. Last team, Nuggets, Achilles, Heels. I have no clue.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
Like, it's crazy that the Celtics are technically record-wise the best team in basketball, but we could have an Achilles heel for them, and the Nuggets, we can't. Like, that's crazy to me.
I think the Nuggets is just going to be, are their shooters going to be able to hit the shots? And they have good shooters, but are they going to be good enough in the playoffs, or are they going to go cold? You know what I'm saying? As we've seen that happen with teams before, their shooters just go cold in the playoffs.
It definitely happens.
If KCP, MPJ go cold, they're going to have a tough night, because now teams are going to be able to take away kind of Jokic's ability a little bit. Jamal Murray, we know what he's capable of. He can carry a team by himself for sure. But you telling me, let's say in the playoffs, I give Jamal 30 points, I give Jokic 20 points. Now where's the other 70 gonna come from? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be the challenge for the Nuggets. Is can their extra guys step up and keep scoring the way they've been able to? But maybe they are. I mean, they have a great offensive scheme. Jokic is literally the best passer in the league. They have excellent playmakers. They run great systems. So we'll see.
Hey, man, playoff Jamal Murray real, though.
Definitely.
But I just think back. We mentioned the 2016 Warriors earlier. I think back at a guy like Harrison Barnes, right? He was amazing all season. But then come that final series.
Trash.
10 minutes.
They're passing him the ball. He can't hit a shot. So I think maybe something like that could happen to the Nuggets. But like I said, I think they're the best team in basketball. Forget what the Celtics are. I'm terrified of the Nuggets. I think they're the only team that can beat us.
Mm.
Well, man, that has been the playoff breakdown. Some Achilles heels. We got to see how the season is, though. I think next season is going to be great, like great hoops. We got so many players coming back from injury next season. I'm extremely excited. And just to see how the direction goes with some of these guys. But, man, y'all boys got anything y'all need to add?
Nah, man, I'm chilling.
Sure, man, we got to get another mock draft out of you, man. We got a lot that's been going on in the NFL.
Hey, it's on the way, man. I've been working on some. I worked on some yesterday, actually. In light of that Stephon Diggs trade, there's a lot of other rumors that I've been hearing circulating about. You know what I'm saying? Getting some reports. So I've been working on my second one, version 2.0. I've also been working on the NBA version, so we'll get that going for sure. But man, that Stephon Diggs trade, you know what I'm saying? Houston, we got a situation, and the Buffalo Bills.
Are they poverty to you? Bills looking kind of poverty?
Nah.
Bills been poverty, man. Come on now.
It's crazy.
I don't know how you're from Chicago, but you're a Bills fan.
Yeah, it happened, man.
They might as well rename the Bills after Patrick Mahomes, man.
I think you should be a Chicago fan. They're going to be pretty good this year, bro.
Yeah, they're getting Caleb Williams, man.
We all see. I like the Bears roster, but I think it's too much. It's a little too much hype for me. Sometimes I feel like they could underperform low key.
Do you think that Caleb Williams is the guy for them though?
I think so.
I do.
Okay.
Well, I have to. There's no other choice.
Yeah, at that point, who's going to play QB?
Jaden McDaniels?
No.
Stop
it.
Stop
it.
Not Jaden McDaniels.
JJ McCarthy?
No.
You're talking about LSU, Jaden Daniels. Yeah, chill, bro.
Who is JJ McCarthy? Who is that?
Mr. Hand the ball off.
Never heard
Michigan
of that
quarterback.
Never heard of him.
Listen now, y'all ain't gonna disrespect JJ McCarthy. He a baller, man.
I can hand the ball off 80 times a game too.
Give me Quinn Ewers.
You're crazy.
Give me
Nah.
Quinn Ewers.
You're
Mr.
crazy.
I beat Bama.
That's how I know you don't watch college, bro.
I'm just playing, bro. I don't think JJ's that bad, but I don't know. It always feel like we get that one Zach Wilson-y prospect every year.
I feel like there's him this year.
I do. I feel like he's the Zach Wilson-y
You
prospect.
think Jaden is Zach Wilson?
JJ McCarthy, yeah.
JJ McCarthy, yeah.
Interesting.
Makes me feel like he's the Zach Wilson of this year.
Interesting.
Forget that. I'm looking for the Mr. Relevant this year.
I wonder who it's gonna be.
I don't know. I'm an avid Brock Purdy hater.
Yeah, you hate Brock Purdy.
You hate Brock Purdy?
He do.
Definitely. You
What?
can't deny it. The guy pretty good. You can't deny it.
But what you hating on him for? That's my question.
I don't think I don't know. I can't even say I don't think he's that good anymore because he's proved that he's good. I can't.
How much are you expecting from the last pick in the draft?
I just can't stop pushing that narrative. I hate that he's getting MVP talks when he got the best weapons in football.
Honestly,
You can't blame that on him though.
I don't think any of the MVP talks were like serious though.
There were serious debates at one point.
At one point.
I don't think he ever had a good chance.
Brock Purdy was number one in the rankings for a couple of weeks.
That was extremely
rankings. At the end of the day, I don't think anybody would have sat there and voted for Brock Purdy number one.
I think McCaffrey would have won it before him, honestly.
Yeah. I just think people were putting his name into the narrative discussions.
They're like, oh, they're so good because of Purdy. Blah, blah, blah. Okay.
And I'm like, and my biggest complaint about Brock Purdy was his mechanics, and he fixed them. He fixed them. And that just made me think, like, man, maybe I am just a hater. But
I think you are just a hater.
We'll see, because I think there's a Deebo Samuel trade that's right around the corner.
Yeah, I don't think Deebo stays on that team long term.
I think either him.
What are they gonna do with Ayuk?
He going to the Steelers. That's Mike Tomlin's son.
They look just alike. It's crazy.
So
Mike Tomlin's son finna go reunite with him.
His long lost son.
Definitely.
There's a lot of wide receivers who could still be moved, especially around the draft. You see Higgins, Ayuk, Debo, all of them. So OBJ still signed somewhere. So
OBJ, he not.
I don't think they're gonna move T. Higgins. I bet you they're gonna try and hold him hostage. I bet you they're gonna try and move T. Higgins.
We'll see.
But man, we're gonna talk about NFL more on the remix, man. But like you guys, we appreciate you all for showing up to another episode of The Lounge. Great one, like always, fellas. Y'all did y'all thing. We came researched up. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all subscribe to the socials at The Lounge Pod TV on pretty much everything. We going up this year, man. We also announcing it very soon. We have a little bit of a competition coming for you guys. You need to be in touch with the Twitter and be tapped in with the Twitter in order to find out about it. But we do have an NBA playoffs competition coming for you guys very, very, very soon, man. Any last words from our technical producer, Mr. Dave?
Yeah, it was a pleasure talking ball with y'all boys today, man.
Mr. Sherm, what you think?
Full Diddy, man.
Ooh, that boy crazy. Yeah. That boy crazy.
No comment.
I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm your host, the Lounge Heavyweight Champ, Mr. J. Hey, man, it's WrestleMania weekend, baby.
You're not even the champ no more, man. What about
Cody. It's Team Cody.
You Team Cody this weekend?
Hold on, where is that?
Yes, man. You're not even the real champ, man.
We Team Cody around here.
You're not even the real champ. Cody. That's not even the right belt.
It's Team Cody. I don't care what you're saying.
That's not even the right belt,
Cody crybaby all weekend.
Team Roman. I gotta acknowledge my tribal chief, man.
See, he a hater. Sherm, who you got, man? Cody or Roman? I know you probably know.
He don't know what we talking about.
Listen, man. I'm 21 years old. I left that wrestling stuff behind, bro. When I was
That's
6.
not what we asked you.
That's not the
Roman
question.
Team Cody.
I left it behind when I was 6, man.
It's not what we asked you. You're not answering the questions. Team Rock or Team Cody?
Give me the Bella Twins.
All right. Let's get out of here. All right, let's get out of here. All right, man. But yeah, we out of here, y'all. Peace.
Tight.